I'm so happy to be here. It really does. It's funny. Usually during the real life, Fridays don't feel that different, but these days, Fridays actually feel really different to me. I'm
Yes.
so happy it's Friday. I'm so happy it's the weekend now. I haven't been going very many places, just the grocery store and the vet and every once in a while. But I have two younger children, a 7-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter. So I've been sort of sherpaing them through their teachers teaching them online. And so there's been a lot of school reading apps, and I've been doing a lot of live concerts on Facebook, especially on my official Facebook page. We've got some special things coming up that you will find out about, because that's the other thing. It's like I've been cleaning the house. We've been cooking, a lot of dishwasher, just basically everything. Being a mom, being somebody who owns a house with a family, with children, and a musician, and writing. There's all these little projects and voiceovers and voiceover auditions and everything plus more. And learning about technology. I'm sure you're all out there trying to learn about which microphone and which internet service and where's your light and all that kind of stuff, which is very time consuming. And watching some more TV than I normally do, and reading.
Yeah.
So we have a good amount of space, and we have a lot of neighbors. So we're distanced, but not isolated, and just, trying to, I don't know if there's actually like structure as much as, well, there's structure, but just trying to make sure we check off enough of the boxes that make us feel human. And
Can I just say real quick, unless you have a really good ring light, you look exactly the same.
finding the light in their house and facing it.
Yeah.
Go to your window. Don't sit like you, Alex B. You've got your beautiful light coming over to the side of your face. Move your computer if you can, so that the light
Oh
is
my God,
you've got that really bright light behind you as well. So find your light, get your camera up above your chin line so that all of this disappears, because it's not there anyway, of course. I have glasses, but I'm literally sitting in front of the brightest light in the
on top
house.
of 3 boxes right now because
I've got my my IKEA crate with a delivery box on top of that, and then my computer. I do work out still during this time. I do light strength training, a dance class every week, and a lot of walking and biking with my kids. So, water, little coffee. It's amazing. At the time when the song came out, it was exciting because I felt like I'd been trying to be a musician for so long. I was like 2 years out of college. I'd been playing music all through high school, all through college. I had a band. It was the thing. And to get a song on a soundtrack was a really big deal, especially one with all these actors like Winona Ryder and Ben Stiller. But then on top of that, for the song to end up going on the radio and going to #1, I think it made it especially great because I had friends and family around me to tell me, oh my God, this is happening. And I was like, oh my God, because I'm a person with no punctuation. From the way I talk, from the way I live my life, it's like, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? There's never like period or exclamation point. Oh my God, this thing is happening. I have to always like remember to focus on like knowing when things are happening. But it was just so exciting when that happened. And especially now in retrospect, I'm so lucky that either through live touring, which I was supposed to be doing right now, off and on because I put a new record out, or luckily now with all of the live streaming and also with Cameo messages and all this stuff, I'm able to constantly hear about people's experience with the song Stay. So I'm so lucky to hear how important the song is to people. I know I have so many songs like that from when I was growing up. So to be one of the people who made one of those songs for people, it's just, I really appreciate it, and it makes me feel very good. And I love that it still resonates with people. And also, like, I like to joke around and stuff. So I like that it has a very sentimental feeling for some people, a nostalgic feeling, might bring a tear to people's eyes of sadness or joy, but also they might have funny memories associated with it. When a song becomes popular, people change the words, or they sang it at their, sorority or their summer camp. So I like hearing the full range of people's experience. Craig Robinson texted me and he's like, Lisa, I will completely redo your video. Is that cool? And I will be you, and you can be the cat wrangler. And he explained the whole deal to me, and I was like, that sounds hilarious. I had seen the first movie and I thought it was really, really funny and, off color, fun to have them do that. And it was so weird visiting the set, being on set, because I was in that scene, being on set with, it was hilarious to see Craig dressed up as me for sure. But also just even the lighting and the feeling and the lights and the set looked exactly like it did in New York.
Yeah.
Except I guess
I had a really good attorney, which I still do, who cares about music and cares about people. And we like to do things in an independent way. So when it came time to have the song on the soundtrack, we had some interest from different record labels and people were getting interested in signing me. So we weren't sure what we wanted our relationship to be with that label who put out Reality Bites at the time. So we decided to keep the rights to the song and just license it to them. And so we weren't actually signed to the label. I ended up signing to Geffen Records when my song went to #1, which was very exciting, and a good time to sign a record label, but signed to a record label. But I was just really, as much as I was obsessed with writing music and the craft of writing music and performing live and voice lessons and guitar lessons and working with my band and knowing how the studio works and everything, I also was really interested in the music business. And so I was always on top of what was happening in that part of my career as well, and able to kind of separate them when it came to actually making music. But I'm always still interested in that, making business decisions and marketing and all of those things. And a handful of alternate versions of the song stay.
Right.
The
Living
band
from
New
it.
Found Glory has done it. And also more recently, shoot, I have the single over in my mail area. There's another band that recently covered Stay in kind of a punky way. But you mean my alternate version?
Your
I've seen a
alternate,
lot of other people like there is, but it's not as strong of a concept. So we decided to drop it. There's a lot of footage there. The actual video is done in one take. We did that one take many, many times, as I'm sure you all have done now on the social media platform. You're like, let me just do this real quick. Okay, let me just do this again. Oh, just one more time. And then like 3 hours later, you're like, oh, seriously. So anyway, it was one take, but it was many, many times. And I insisted on having the band shot as well. And it just wasn't as interesting. And I was sort of like, you can't see me, that's funny, Ken Gregory over there with your disappearing person in the background. That somebody's on, who's named Ken Gregory with like a castle in the background, and somebody keeps appearing and disappearing in his background. It's hilarious.
The background, so when people
yeah.
put them up, like if they move out of the camera.
Yeah, somebody moved out of the camera and then they appear and they disappear.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wanted to be seen, and actually it's a good move if you're a musician or somebody who is a performer and you want to be seen in a certain way. It's important to market yourself, to present yourself in the way that you want to be seen. If you want to be seen as a fabulous person, you should always look fabulous. If you want to be a quiet and shy person, present yourself like that. I was a musician and I wanted people to know, like, hey, I'm a musician. I know how to play. I'm not like a pop singer, which now many, many years later, I understand that that's also really an amazing thing to be. But at the time, right out of college, I'm like, I play, I sing, it's my thing. And then yet there I was walking around like, oh, what do I'm so emotional. Like, I'm not even that emotional. But then I realized the video told the story so much better than me showing that I can play guitar, that was a brief moment of accidental maturity. We worked together a lot, like we were friends, and there was a big group of us that ran around New York, like John Mark Sherman and Jesse Harris, who's a songwriter, like playwrights and musicians and actors. And Ethan had a theater company that a lot of us were involved in. I wrote music for a number of the plays that were performed there. They starred people like Callista Flockhart and Gwyneth Paltrow and all these people who now everybody knows very well for their work. John, I don't know, a lot of boys. But anyway, so we worked together a lot. We were friends, we were fans, we hung out a lot. And so to work with Ethan, he's artsy, he's like, he loves poetry and he's like a beat poet and he's like, so it was cool to work with him because he had such a specific vision of what he wanted. He was able to show me the first time. He wanted me to understand that he had come up with this idea for the video where it was just going to be one take and the camera was going to follow me around. And he showed me it was going to be one take and then I would go here and the camera would come around and, just kind of like the video is. He had this whole idea. He wanted to work with Tom Richmond, who is this amazing DP who had just shot a movie he was in called Midnight Clear, beautifully shot movie. And Tom was the DP. He just had the whole thing thought out, and he's just very creative. He's like artsy. He's not movie starry. He's very artsy. Right. So it was cool. It was right up my alley, doing something with an idea and doing it because it was telling a story and it was his vision, Funny, I've always worn glasses since I was a teenager, a young teenager, maybe even 12, preteen. I couldn't see without them. So I wore them because I had to. I loved them because my best friend had glasses since she was little, and I thought that was just the coolest thing to have glasses. So I didn't ever fight it, and I was sort of a new wave kid as well. So there were really weird glasses that I would buy that are like purple or black and white, crazy glasses. And little by little, I ended up with the cat eye frame because I think it's flattering on any face. It was just something that I always wore, and it's definitely something that even before I was a professional entertainer person, people always recognized me with my glasses and often did not recognize me when I was not wearing my glasses.
Oh.
In the stay video, I think you're talking about my I Do video dress. My stay video dress was a Betsy Johnson faux suede, stretch suede. I wore a lot of Betsy Johnson before I was signed. And then after I started making videos and things, I got to actually meet Betsy Johnson and go to her workroom and work with Betsy. And she had a dress that wasn't for sale. It was just a special one that she had in her showroom. And we picked it out together, and I would wear my dresses very, very short, almost like a dress. She actually was on her knees figuring out how short it was going to be. Again, when you look at my closet, often my dresses look like they're children's clothes because I'm a petite person, and then I wear a dress that's from here to just past my butt, and it's like a t-shirt. But anyway, it was a Betsy Johnson dress, dark forest green. Some people think it's black, but it's forest green, and it was free because she loaned it to me. My glasses, probably without the lenses at that time, were probably about 100. They were expensive. They were like 130. The lenses were probably a couple hundred more, but I didn't have bifocals yet. And I don't think I probably had anti-reflective glasses. Like a nice midline Betsy Johnson dress would cost about 150, 130. That would make sense. But this one was free because she gave it to me to wear, and also because it didn't exist on the shelf.
That's amazing. That's pretty awesome.
I don't think so. I think Grammys are really exciting, and I have one now. It's up there on my shelf back there. It's super exciting, and it's a great way to be recognized by the music industry. And I know when I was a kid, when I watched the Grammys, and even still, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a big thing. Like, people really pay attention. But I will say that having, I don't know, I mean, who knows? But I know after having won a Grammy now, it definitely reconnects me to people and reconnects me to the audience. But I don't know. I don't know if I think especially when you're a brand new artist, it can be a curse. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Just being nominated, most people don't know the difference between nominated and winning. Like when I go play concerts and stuff, people say, I mean, I have won a Grammy now, so people can say Grammy winning. But in the past, we would put Grammy nominated, and people would say Grammy. Lisa Loeb won 2 Grammys, or it's like, well, I was actually nominated for a couple Grammys. But okay, thank you. I think just being in that world sounds really good, and in reality, it is really good. It's really cool. Like I've gotten to know unbelievable producers, musicians, artists, all kinds of people who really care about what they do. And a lot of the Grammys on TV, it's presentational, and it's, who's on the front cover of a magazine, that type of thing. It's very high tiered. But there's all these other people in the Recording Academy who are just passionate about what they do. In their communities, they're very prominent in the music industry in San Francisco and Seattle. I was just texting with somebody who's in Italy, and we met through the Recording Academy. Somebody from Sweden. Like, it's just a great way to connect with people on a high level, people who are on a high level who really care about what they do. Again, then you turn to a record label. Regular people and musicians and artists care about the Grammys. I think the label's like, okay, anyway, they know what's happening. With the first record, again, like, I came from a place where I was so in control of everything, recording music during college and high school, working with my band for such a long time. I was like this little firecracker. I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what we're doing. I was working with my band. I'm very co-producing the record. And so I knew what I wanted to do. And I think with the Grammy nomination and the song going to #1, there was a little bit more, especially on that first record, Tales, a little bit more kind of like, oh, let's let the band do what they know what they're doing. Oh, let's let them do their thing. And luckily they thought there were songs on the record that were singles, including Do You Sleep, which also was in the top 40 or maybe even top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, we had a couple of songs off of that were on the radio. So at that point with the first record, I think we had a little bit more creative freedom. When it got to my second record, then came the VH1 Behind the Music, like, where are the singles? And I was like, what do you mean? Where are the singles? They're on the record. You know, I think it's even more exciting now because I have so much more perspective now than I did 25 years ago to be able to do this for, I mean, I remember people used to say like, oh, they've been around so long. That's so great. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But then when you have been around for a long time, you're like, and you've been through the ups and downs or the feeling of like, this is going to be the next. I don't know if there's a lot of creative people out there who have their own creative projects, but that's one thing I love about LA. There is this general feeling, which can sometimes be kind of full of it, but it also is this lovely thing where you're like, oh, I have this idea. It's going to be great. And you get all excited and you make this thing and you put on a show or you make a record or you pitch a TV show because you can just see it happening and then it doesn't happen. And then you have this other idea and then that's going to happen like over and over and over again. And some of those things do happen. And so that's, you know, having the perspective of understanding how the business can be and then actually winning a Grammy, especially for something that it's a family-friendly album called Feel What You Feel. And the album has a lot of songs that have values, good values, which especially in this Trump era, I feel like it's so important to remind people to be respectful and to be, to see each other and to recognize, and not only the Trump era, but just also the cult of celebrity and selfies and all of that, like to look at your own life. You don't have to be some famous person. You can appreciate the small moments in your life. Those make up your life. Those are important and special. So anyway, there's those kind of messages written into real songs of encouragement.
Do you feel that like when you became a parent, that was something that, I know for me, when I became a parent, it completely changed who I was as an artist. I mean, do you feel that like the well of emotion and just everything that kind of opens up, did that play into creating this album, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I think so, because I'm like, well, what would I want to tell my kids? Like, what would I want? Would they be proud of what I'm saying? I mean, overall, there's also a very strong through line of nostalgia of my own childhood and wanting to create art that sounds like the 1970s, things where sometimes in the grown-up world, there were songs like Brand New Key or Rock the Boat or, I don't know, songs that families, you just enjoyed them. They were just songs, but they're almost like kids' music. You know, it's like this crossover. There was a lot of TV, Donnie and Marie show, some things that were silly or heartfelt, or to be able to tell those stories, or Free to Be You and Me is always a really big one. If I was going to make kids' music, I want to make stuff like that, you know, like, so that's part of it. But I think my kids actually, I feel like I'm held to a higher level because even when my kids were very, very little, they weren't listening to kids' music. They were listening to, you know, 21 Pilots and Sia and all these amazing musicians. The only reason we were listening to kids' music is because I'm friends with a lot of kids musicians and they send me their songs and I listen to them. And there's select ones that I really like, but all of the ones that I really love are the ones that sound like just music. Maybe they're a little bit more animated or they're a little bit stranger, or I don't know, there's just something about them that doesn't make them like pop music.
Yeah.
Say that again.
It's accessible to everyone. It's like going to see a Pixar film where it's like the adults are going to love it on a totally different level than the kids will. Yeah,
and it happens too that like on my new record and even on Feel What You Feel, there's some songs that I was thinking of putting on my grown-up record, and then I realized, well, these can work on my kids' record. They you know, and then vice versa, there were some songs I was writing that might have gone on a kid's record. They went on my grown-up record because I feel like a lot of us, and I experience it when I play live shows or do live streaming and stuff, I experience people's reactions. They react to those kind of stories and not just, you know, a 22-year-old when which is also fine. I have been a 22-year-old and a 28-year-old with a broken heart who writes about that. But there are other things to write about and it's a challenge to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 kids records. And I had made a record called No Fairy Tale, I think about 5 years ago, which is more of a rock record made with Chad Gilbert, who did the punk version of Stay. And I felt like I didn't want to abandon that. That's what I really love too. I'm a grown up and I have things to say. And again, it was a challenge to be in my, you know, 50s. and to say like, well, what do I have so many new friends through my kids, the parents, my peers. And I felt like, well, that's a real challenge. That's something I want to do. Because again, I play a lot of live shows, and I also have nostalgia about my old songs. I love playing songs from my old records and Tales and Firecracker. But every once in a while I'm singing them thinking, I really need to continue to write songs from where I am, so that when I'm singing them, it just feels more connected and authentic in that moment, not just nostalgic. And so I started working on those songs, because I also felt like, wow, it's such an amazing thing when you connect to what you're singing. I want to keep doing that. So I did that. It was time. It was time to make a record for grown-ups.
You mentioned nostalgia, and it makes me think of a question I wanted to ask you, because right now I think it's a big thing, like all of us digging back into nostalgia. There's reboots of shows, and musicians like yourself coming out with new material. And you were on an episode of Fuller House.
Yes.
Which was amazing. It was so cool, because talking about nostalgia, just like, combining into one amazing moment. I know you're a voice actor. I know that you obviously act as well, but you focus mainly on music. Do you ever, I know, and I also know you were playing yourself, but how did that come about? Is it something you'd want to do more often? Have you ever thought about doing a musical? I hear you taking a dance class. I am
a dancer. I know. I grew up as a dancer and an actor and a musician. I did all of those things growing up. I was, taking 2-3 dance classes, sometimes 4 dance classes a week. I was always in the play. I was in plays in college. It's always been something important to me. Music is the thing that kept being the most successful. Sure. Probably also the thing I had the most control over. You could just sit and play a song. You can't all of a sudden be in a show, like you have to be cast in a show and then you do the show. Also in college, this might be a cop out, but in college also, most of the roles that I got cast in was the child role. I always look young. Oh, and so I'd be like the little sister, I'd be the newsboy and the musical working. And
you look younger than me. And when you said 50s, I was like, what?
I know. Well, it's great. So now I get to, I've had some small roles. I got to be a mom of an 18-year-old a few years ago. But anyway, I love acting. I started taking some acting classes. I'd love to do more acting. For a while, I was feeling, having an unusual relationship, like not knowing what I felt about having a cameo in shows. Like I've done a lot of shows, and I was like, but I'm an actor. Is it smart for me as a musician to just make an appearance in a show? And then the more I did it, I realized, who cares, what anyone else thinks. It's really fun. It's fun to be on the set of Community or Workaholics or Drew Carey's show.
Right.
For now, Fuller House. Like, it's fun. Like, it's really fun. And Fuller House was amazing because those folks have been working together forever.
Yeah.
I'm friendly with Bob Saget and Dave. I'm sort of friendly with some of those people anyway throughout the years. I was friendly with some of the writers. They wanted me to be on the show. And what was fun, especially about Fuller House, was it wasn't just me saying a couple of things. It was actually scenes where I was actually, it wasn't me, but I was acting. Yeah. I actually got to do acting. And because of the nature of that show, it has rehearsals throughout the week. Right. It's not something where you're in and you're out. Teachers was another, AP Bio was another one I really enjoyed because it was a scene. I got to throw dishes and have an argument, and it was like actual acting. Not as much rehearsal though. But so it's something I would like to do.
Does it feel good to flex those muscles again?
Oh my God. Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's especially fun when you get to rehearse and have a character. Part of me thinks like, I'm like, oh, I'm playing myself. I know, I get it. I know, I watched Brady Bunch when, Davy Jones came on. I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? But this is cool and it's fun. And it's fun to have wardrobe and hang out with the actors and, be a part of this great team where I get to meet all these new people, and my kids love the show and they get to visit. And I think sort of getting over myself again, just being like, yes, they cast me because I'm a musician. It's a cameo. I get it. It's kind of kitschy and fun, and appreciating that though. I appreciated it. And also getting to act, like literally it's a little scary to do things you don't do all the time. Getting to do it, I felt like I did a good job. I was like, okay, good job, Lisa, you did it. You have your face out there as like, this is who I am. I am a doctor. I'm a teacher. you don't often get to put yourself in places where you're doing something that you also do, but maybe you don't practice it as much, but you still want to do it. You know, I think it's important to always put yourself out there, and also just not make such a big deal out of it. Like, it's fine and it's fun. And then, you know,
Great.
icing on the cake, my kids' friends think I'm super cool now because they saw me in Fuller House.
Yeah.
You know, my kids thought that was pretty cool, and I did too, that they got to come visit the taping and meet the actors, and the actors were super nice. And, you know, they were exactly like you would want somebody to be if your family visited a set. They're like, come, you know, you're like, oh, can we peek in here? They're like, come on in. Don't peek in. Like, come sit on the sofa. Come sit on the Fuller House sofa. And the writers, instead of having to sit off in the bleachers like guests normally do, the writers said, no, come sit right here with the writers, and let's go set to set as we shoot this and we rehearse this. And my kids could really see what was happening, and the props people and the costumers and everybody, they got to really see what was going on. So I felt like it was just a great experience. Different. Well, first of all, I think instead of avoiding kind of writing personal songs, I leaned into writing personal songs. Again, I've realized that people really connect to the song Stay. And that song was like blurting out all these things I was going through at the time, where normally I like to craft and like secretly make other things happening. So I took my storytelling that I had been working on a lot in this kids' music world, and I applied it to collaborating with some other people that I really enjoyed working with. And for me, collaborating with others helps me get out of my head and get out of my own way. And I've been collaborating enough now where I feel like my voice is there. Sometimes when you first start collaborating, your voice isn't there. It's weird. Like, you don't actually, you sometimes let other people kind of, I don't know. I felt like my voice was there. My stories were there. We were all working together. That was kind of a bonus. I wrote with a gal called Rosie Golan, and a lot of songs with Rich Jacks. But when it came to putting the harmonies on, I really loved including my collaborators because they're talented singer-songwriters and musicians. And so I had invited Rosie to sing harmony, and she was in Nashville. She didn't have time, but she's like, you know, Michelle, who she's good friends with Michelle Branch, and I'm friendly with Michelle Branch. She's like, you know, maybe Michelle would, you know, do this. And I was like, that would be awesome. You know, that would be so cool. I met Michelle Branch when she was, I think, like a young teenager, when I was doing a tour, and one of my radio reps who was promoting my record brought her backstage with her mom, and she played some music for me. She was really talented back then, and she ended up being this great, you know, talent. She was talented then, very talented, but she ended up being this also commercially successful, interesting, talented human. So it was really cool for her to sing on the record, and she was a fan of mine too. So it was kind of this cool, you know, this cool thing, and I get to say it, and that sounds really cool too. When I'm on tour, and also when I'm hanging out outside of my kids' schools, talking to grown-ups, talking to people, everybody needs this. So many people need this song. This was a song, I got together with this writer named Eric Lumiere, and he writes these beautiful soaring love songs that are often turned into dance remixes in Europe. So we got together to write this passionate song. And instead I said, you know what, I'm about to play Nashville Pride, and I'm tired of playing events, whether it's pride parades or political functions, where I get up to sing and people want to hear Stay, which is great, but it doesn't feel right for the situation. I want a song that feels right for this. I need to start having songs that feel right for the situation so that I can sing in the moment of that thing, and we're all coming together. And so I said, let's write a song like I'd like to teach the world to sing, like that kind of song, which same kind of song we were just talking about for Pride. And we wrote this song, and it's just based on so much experience on my own, talking to others. There's so much stuff that seems obvious, but sometimes we forget that advice. Like, be yourself. This is your life. Sing out, celebrate. And the song Sing Out, just like a number of the other songs on the record, it has a quality that I was striving for, which is a song that you can take with you throughout the day, whether it's the message and or the feeling of the song. Because I want you to hear that and remember that, like, right, this is my life. Wait a minute. And I literally have another song on the record called This Is My Life, where you're like, you know, stressing over these small things and not sure and being confused and being frustrated, and then realizing, hey, wait a minute. I've got a really cool life. This is really amazing. There are cool things in my life. And so that's what Sing Out is also about, celebrating yourself. And I wanted the feeling of the song, which I feel like it does, and it works this way live as well. People sing along. It's something people sing together. It's a joyous feeling. It's a passionate feeling. It's an emotional feeling. Song on the album. I think one of my favorites is a song called Another Day. It's kind of like a ballad. It feels a little bit like a prayer. Not like Madonna, like a prayer, but just literally like I think because like a lot of the other songs on the record, A Simple Trick, I think it recognizes the difficult things and then reminds you that that things can be okay, that it's okay. But for me, you always have to see both sides of things before you can get through it. So it's not just like, yay, life can make you smile. It's like, life is really hard. Some of the stupid things can be really hard. And even in the video, when we made the music video for Another Day, excuse me, when we made the music video, it was me cleaning up my house after shooting another video in my house. And I said to the video director, this is the video, shoot this. And it just has that feeling of like, but things can be okay. Hold on 1 second, I'm gonna cough.
Okay.
Sorry, I put a lot of sugar in my coffee, and sugar makes me cough. That's why they call coffee coffee.
Parabéns.
Sure, I mean, it literally, any of the songs on the record represent the record. I don't even know if the song that I mentioned is the one that people talk about the most when they tell me that they've listened to the record, but it's just the one that I feel like playing. And it's the one, again, when I've already started playing it out live in front of people before all the shutdown, it's the one that people come up with a tear in their eye, and there's a connection there. Those of you watching, I capo the guitar on the 6th fret.
Ooh.
That is the capo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that we can get those high notes. And I'm gonna grab a guitar pick, which is here. Okay, I'm gonna just make this a little higher. Oh, it's falling. Let me just fix this. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Can you hear my guitar okay?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna take this off while I sing. Fixing my capo because it's buzzing. Ruth Buzzy. There we go. You say I only hear what I want to. You say I talk so all the time, so. And I thought what felt simple, and I thought that don't belong. Now that I am leaving, now I know that I did something wrong, 'cause I missed you. Yeah, yeah, I missed you. You say I only hear what I want to. I don't listen hard, don't pay attention to the distance that you're running to anyone, anywhere. I don't understand if you really care. I'm only hearing negative, no, 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 bad. So I turn the radio on, I turn the radio up, and this woman was singing my song. Lovers in love and the others run away. Lover is crying 'cause the other won't stay. Some of us have a really weep for the other who was dying since the day they were born. Well, this is not that I think that I'm growing, but I'm thrown. And I thought I'd live forever, but now I'm not so sure. You try to tell me that I'm clever, but that won't take me anyhow or anywhere with you. You said that I was naive, and I thought that I was strong. Oh, I thought, hey, I can leave, oh. Now I know that I was wrong, 'cause I missed you. Yeah, I missed you. You said you called me 'cause you want me, and one day you let me go. You try to give away, keep me 'cause you know you're just so scared to lose. And you say say. I only hear what I want to.
Yeah. Woo!
Thank you.
It was so beautiful. Like watching people crying. Like we're just casually going into the weekend being serenaded by Lisa Loeb.
Well, it's Fantastical here too. And I look forward to seeing y'all. Maybe I'll see y'all on a Facebook Live on my official Lisa Loeb page.
Go check it out. I literally almost sang the backgrounds with you. I was ready.
Oh, that would be great.
I was ready to jam out.
I wish there was a better way to sing together on the internet. No one's quite figured it out yet.
Right, I know.
That would be so cool.
They're coming out with an app called, I think, Rehearsal Space or something like that that's supposed to be better for that. But anyway, you're amazing. What an honor.
Oh, thank you. Well, I look forward to seeing y'all. Again, we've got some special announcements coming up. So sign up on lisaloeb.com. So give me your email address and we'll send you an email and tell you what's going on.
All right, thank you. What a great week. Bye, everybody. See you Monday.